Hello, welcome. Let's see if the audio is working now. I think we are. I think I'm peaking now. Holy moly, this is loud. Let's go ahead and adjust that down a little bit. My goodness. Hello, one. Oh my goodness. Hello. There we go. Okay, there we go. I think that should be it. Still kind of peaking. How you doing all? Welcome to the last live stream. I'm going to turn off automatic gain control. Now I'm just quiet. I know. This is horrible. This is embarrassing, John. How dare you do this stream by yourself with nobody attempting to adjust things? This is insanity. Horrible. All right. I think it should be working now. Hopefully my internet connection's stable enough to keep me going here. Let's see. I think I am live. There we go. Let's see here. Let's see if everybody's got 9 concurrent viewers. Cool. All right. Say hi in this chats. So this is the last live stream of the year. Last time when we're going to do this until next year. I like the last live stream I did because I had technical difficulties. And I got a lot of commenters being a bunch of jackasses saying like, "Oh my God, this channel used to be cool. This channel used to like do important things and do stuff." And I was like, this channel was never cool. I was always a horrible, boring human being. How you doing, Vivazio? Add to queue. Send. I can just send it. Let's see. It pulls it up. Yay! It's working. Everything's working. All right. It is a rainy day here in Southern California. I am just wrapping up a shoot where I did it. I finally did. I finally broke through the mental barriers and recorded the part 2 of Fox, the Fox After Fox, I call it, studios video, which I'm going to edit. I'm working on today. I've got 12 minutes of it edited, and I just got to the part where we're dealing with Cleopatra. So it's going to be like a 30 to 40 minute video. Lots of good stuff in that history. It's one of those things it's one of those things where I'm not particularly worried about how good it will be, but I'm just happy it'll be done. All right. Hi, slow mode is on. Yeah, Splits. Oh, look, some kind of Boba Fett thing. I'm not sure what the Boba Fett thing is. I haven't done Boba Fett yet. Glad I got a notification that says Charles Hoffman. And Ratzel says, Heidi ho. Quality is good and working fine too. So cool. I'm glad it's working. So yeah, so my set is kind of set up for the studios. I turned the lights on full blast. I did break down this morning. Like I was trying to do the Venetian blind cliche thing for film noir by hanging a Venetian blind, the old one I used to have on my old set. Which, like, I remember somebody on Twitter saying they missed the Venetian blinds on my set, and I'll be honest, I don't, because I hate those things. Those are horrible. They're just awful. I mean, maybe I didn't install them properly, but my God, they're just awful. Wait, why am I loud here? Turn that off. Okay, I'm trying to watch myself back. Don't want that. I see a bottle of holiday cheer. Yeah, it's my prop for the studios video. This might be a Easter egg for all of those that don't realize it, but like if you watch the 2 studios videos I have out, one on Paramount and one on William Fox, you'll see that even though the whole thing is like it's drinking, you'll never see me once take a sip until maybe the very end. Then at the very end I'll take a sip. But it's an old technique too. But it comes from 2 things. My background in advertising. When I was an intern and working at the cable company making TV ads, they were told you would never ever show anybody on a commercial drinking anything or drinking alcohol, maybe drinking Coke or something. But you like people with beers, never see them drink a beer. You would like toast a beer, yay! But you'll never ever see anybody drink beer on a commercial. And that was like a unwritten rule, or maybe it was a written rule. I can't remember. And the other technique why you don't drink when you're doing a long prompter read is it gets a lot harder when you start drinking. It's a very bad thing to do. Do not drink and try to read teleprompter. If you've seen that documentary Anchorman, you'll probably know why. But it is not. They do not mix well. Not a good idea. No, sir. So, and actually, there was another. There's a comment I remember reading in a book by Greg Gutfeld that said, if you start drinking and doing your job, and you get good at that, then you feel like you need to drink all the time, and that's a recipe for disaster. So don't drink and do your job. Like, try to separate them, because if you start going that route, it just, then you're like, well, I can't get my job done if I don't drink, and that's not good. And I've dealt in my life actually a lot. I've done a lot of productions for Alcoholics Anonymous and related things, to know that alcoholism is not a good thing. In fact, I'll go ahead and tell a story. This producer that I used to know, he hired me. He was an alcoholic. He had a pretty major project, a Hollywood project, but he drank himself out of the job, just firebombed out. And he was trying to build his way back, and he got to me through another acquaintance, and I was a video producer, and I was trying to help him out making video projects, and so like a couple projects he did for like an Alcoholics Anonymous pastor that was doing a bunch of programs, and can we vape in commercials? Probably, I think you can. Anyhow, so I was working with him, and we were doing some like ads or commercial infomercials for like rehab centers. So I got to see the rehab center part of the equation. I did the pastor thing where I did the 12 steps. So I learned about the 12 steps program, and I don't personally have a problem with alcohol. I do drink once in a while, but not very, very, very rarely. My friends are very strange in that they are almost teetotalers. None of them like. It's hard to even have a beer with some of my friends. Although I have one friend that does make beer, and we do get a little bit sloshed at his place. But anyhow, so the long story short, I was supposed to work with this guy, and he started he was going to Hawaii and trying to do a documentary on the big surfer Duke. I can't pronounce his last name, so I won't try. Duke, the historically important surfer. And he would contact me and then disappear for like 3 months, and contact me and disappear for 3 months, and contact me and disappear. He kept doing that and doing that, and then all of a sudden he stopped contacting me, and I was like, and he also, by the way, he owed me money. Okay, I did this project for this other guy, for this pastor, and the pastor paid him, and he was supposed to pay me my portion of it, and he owed me money. And then I also realized that when he was charging the client like $12,000 for a video, and I would get like $1,000. And I literally did all the work. Like I shot it and edited and the whole thing. And I was getting like $1,000, and he just pocketed $11,000 for basically making a contact and not even directing it. I mean, because I kind of directed it. Excuse me. Still a little sick. Still a tiny bit sick, but not much. Anyhow, found out he drank himself to death. Died. He died of like alcohol poison or something like that. And I was like, well, I'm not seeing that money again. I'm not seeing that money forever again. So, yeah, I don't know why you got on this topic, talking about alcoholism. So I just have some experience with the rehab centers and all that stuff. So anyhow, so let's get back to your chats. Let's see. Let's go back a ways. I skipped ahead. Well, bottle of... oh, that's the reason why. Don't drink and work. Oh, so I love putting compliments because, hey, that's me. You're amazing. Oh, go. You're amazing, man. Keep up. Keep doing what you're doing. Best wishes for the new year. Thank you. I feel way more right now. Like last time I was on here, I was talking about I left. I also last time I left here, I felt very depressed because like the chat was not working and then nothing was working. My computer was just bummed out and I couldn't get internet and it kept like failing on me and dying. I ended up updating Windows and updating a bunch of stuff on the computer, so it should be working better today. Knock on wood. That is real wood. That is real wood. Hopefully the sound is okay. So I don't have my regular mic in front of me. I have my boom mic today because I was shooting something on here yesterday. So I just figured I left it up here. Juho says, oh, hello. Nice surprise. Greetings from Finland. Finland, 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 Finland. It's the place you want to be. That's from Spamalot, of course. How are you? Please take a sip. I'm sure. I for sure am. Well, I will. Well, what the hell? All right. Holiday sip. So this is my. I was trying to see if I could like actually market this. I don't know if anybody would buy it, but it's my patented Raiders of the Lost Ark bottle opener. Like, uh-oh, then, yeah. All right, so we'll take a tiny little bit here. So here's the 2021. To me, interesting year. Like, financially I did okay. But emotionally it was just an effed up year. So cheers to 2021 being gone. To new future, 2022. Hopefully we can get back together and produce some projects. I'm feeling really emboldened, I guess, to make 2022 a real good year. Here we go. And cheers. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Oh my goodness. All right. Here we go. Funny question. Do you see that the Ultimate Showdown of YTP Destiny video because you're mentioned in it? Oh, good. YouTube poop. I'm glad. I love it when they make fun of me. I'm sorry. I find it absolutely hilarious. I know the other guy that they make fun of, I guess try to sue them. That's just mean. Like, I mean, that's just, I feel like I'm accepted into the community when they use my video on popcorn. Popcorn. I'm glad they brought me in there. Well, I didn't see it, but I'll go look at it later. Charles Hoffman says, "It's always a problem when someone owes you money disappears." Or in the case of Goodfellas, maybe the person who owes you money disappears because they owe you money. Hey, good to see you. Mindo says, "I hope you are doing well. Any New Year's resolution?" Yes, quite a few. Well, I mean, it always is a New Year's resolution. I really do want this new year to make some films because it's been 2 years. We've all been cooped up and we're not allowed to do shit. Sorry, I just cursed there. Bad John. But I really want to make a couple films and. Yeah, definitely want to make some films, some shorts, something, maybe a little. I want to make a couple lighthearted and simple ones that maybe we shoot in a day or two. But I do want to do one that's a little bit more ambitious. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I can pull it off. Hopefully, I got to do it. I'm getting older. Next year I will be the big 40, and. It is what it is, I guess. It is what it is. Clark, I gotta tell you, your shirt's visible. Oh crap! How are they're gonna find out about me? Big Clive, is that the other guy, Clive, the YouTube poop guy? I don't know. How you doing, Charles Smith? Sending all healing vibes, John. Bad times are just a convergence into the affliction point. And exponential growth on the other end. Apologies for the math. Well, love the math there. Now I'm going to get crapped on here, but in America, we had the perfect storm. We had COVID and we had the election. Two of the worst things to put together. And then invariably elections and COVID became intertwined, and politics and COVID became intertwined. And when you force people to sit at home on Facebook, it made me feel like the world was doomed because it was just so ugly and terrible. It still is in many ways, but I've kind of starting to see the light and then reframing my mind in that I'm not going to let that affect me. Like a couple of weeks ago, hey Tim, how you doing? Tim Jenkins, we got to go get for lunch maybe tomorrow. But in a couple weeks ago, I turned off notifications on YouTube comments on my phone. Like literally, I just said, I can't take this anymore. I'm not going to do this. So my phone will not buzz me when I get a YouTube comment, because I was starting to, I just started to lose faith in everything. When you constantly get people would, I can't believe you responded to my YouTube comment. Well, because my phone would said I got a comment. I used to love reading comments. I still do. I'm not going to be saying I quit it cold turkey. I check it maybe twice or three to four times a day. I'll check it and respond if I feel like it's worth responding to. Sometimes I just feel like, you know what? You're going to call me a boomer all day long about 24 frames a second. I don't care anymore. People were making comments on my video on Gemini Man. That movie came out like 3 years ago. Like, give it a rest, man. So, well, Gemini Man movie is still like one of my top viewed videos every month, which is why? Why are we still talking about Gemini Man? Anyhow, so I can't wait till something new happens. Please recommend 2 movies of the year for 2021. I don't know if I can. So the other thing, part of the COVID is it kind of threw me off of movies for a long. Like, I just kind of like lost interest in movies. So it sucked, and I didn't. I mean, I just like, it made me movies just made me feel kind of less interested in movies. So that's what sucks. I hated that. So hopefully I can kind of come back to it. There's still some things about movies that bug me. We'll talk about it in a little bit. We'll get there. Harry Henry says, just found out that Tony Zhao's in a recent Netflix documentary. Yay! Voir. Nice. I miss every frame of painting. That was such a game changer for video and essays. Yes, and I think Tony Zhao, and I think I've said it on this channel before, Tony Zhao was like the OP of the film documentary. The problem is I feel like everybody's copying him, and it becomes diluted. And because the thing with Tony, I felt he if he made a point, he could back it up, and he knew where the line was between explaining something about film theory or film concepts and total bullshit. And now we're in the total bullshit era of, like, not total, but like 90% bullshit, 10% actual film analysis. So, but I think Tony was like 90% film analysis, 10% bullshit. And it's okay to have 10% bullshit. That's just the way the world works. But yeah, I think he got out because he got tired of doing, or he got to the point where the things he was trying to say were getting harder and harder to say. And I felt that too. I mean, a lot of people comment, like last video I put out, the live video, people were, I said, bitching about like, oh, this channel used to do good stuff. Now it's just a bunch of bullshit. Well, the thing is, I got tired of doing that kind of video, that kind of exhaustive, comprehensive man in front of a green screen explaining the same concept. I ran out of concepts to talk about, honestly. I mean, there's still I've got lots of topics to talk about, but I can't do a comprehensive one the way I used to, because I feel like I've covered them. And if I did, I'd just be retreading water. The videos are still there, so I don't want to redo them. So, anyhow. I'm missing all your comments. YouTube comments are always a good place to lose your faith in humanity. I agree with that, unfortunately. Comments in general, like even Facebook comments, and comment sections, period. Like Reddit's sort of, well, I don't know. Sometimes Reddit can be just as bad. But Reddit's comments are usually more where the entertainment is, more, to me at least, more than the actual content on Reddit. Okay. How did Cartman become a Jew? Cartman was always a Christian. He he pretended to be one. I'm not sure. Kenny was, not Kenny, but Kyle was a Jew. And I don't mean that disparaging. That's just the truth. In 2021 movie recommendations, The Green Knight. Oh, cool. The Green Knight, didn't see that. Dune, I did see that. I like that. The French Dispatch, want to see that. Haven't seen that. Last Night in Soho, another one I want to see. I haven't seen it. Dang it. I need to go see some dang movies. Did you watch Look Up yet? No, I haven't. Last time I said I was a little bit hesitant on Don't Look Up yet, because feel like it's a little bit of a lazy approach to it, but I heard the last 10 minutes make it all worthwhile. So maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I will check it out. Kensa says, faith in anything else other than your skills is a loss, I think. Yeah, I agree with that. Will there be a cinema in 2022? I think so. I am an optimist on that. I'm generally an optimist, period, I think. The Battle Man gonna be what the whole cinema. Momo. Exactly. I agree 100% with that sentiment. Shet says, I am too stoned to understand where all this swearing is about. Yeah, I am too. And I'm not stoned at all. I'm perfectly... I just had that little drip of turkey. Okay, here we go. What's the one thing in filmmaking that really frustrates you the most? Here's... I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, thinking about this yesterday. And it's... Okay, so the next studio that I want to do... After tackling Fox, I want to do a studio, a studio called United Artists. And the reason I want to do United Artists is because I think it's a very important studio to understand what's happening. My phone's just going off here. It's a very important studio to understand what happened in the history of Hollywood. That bridges the Hollywood from the golden era with the studios and the vertical monopolies to what's modern Hollywood, the modern corporate Hollywood. And United Artists is a fascinating bridge between the two because it's basically what started corporate Hollywood. And what do I mean by corporate Hollywood? It's the idea that, and this is something that applies to filmmakers, not just people that want to work in Hollywood, but all filmmakers everywhere. It's the idea that Hollywood is no longer a place that movies are made. It's a place where movies are financed and sold. That's the key important difference. I think so many filmmakers today get very swept up in the making of films. Like the other day, we had people kind of asking me about this iPhone business. Like, will the new iPhone change the way Hollywood makes films? No. In fact, and I'm going to swear here, fuck no. No one's going to use an iPhone to make a movie. It's just not going to happen. But people get swept up into the technology of making films. And the fact is, we have every tool nowadays to make anything we want. I'm literally here by myself. There's not a single person in this office complex because they all decided they're not going to come to work for the last week of 2021. There's not a single... And I'm talking to you like a television studio. I can put up comments and all that. There's so much tech here. I'm not really in LA. That's a TV. You probably figured that out. There's so much tech that the filmmakers get so narrowly focused into the tech. And they forget that it doesn't matter. What matters is how do you make money on the film. So, and that's the biggest frustration for me too. And believe me, like I will put in God knows how many hours in the studio's video, and I don't know how much viewership I'll get on that video. The last Fox video got 17,000 views. I mean, how much money is that in terms of YouTube dollars? I don't know. I haven't really done the math, but a couple $100. It was my 30-hour. Well, it was probably 50 or 60 hours. Is that worth $200? I mean, that's pretty crap. So I'm, I'm reframing it now to. It's not about the money. It's about actually producing the content. But so my whole point with all this big long diatribe is that if you don't have a way to sell the film, if you don't have a way to say, I'm going to make money on this film, then you don't have a way to pay people to work on the film. Like if you knew that, hey, I'm gonna have you make this film, and I know I'm going to make at least $50 million, or I have the avenues in order to get $50 million out of this film. Okay, now I can give you a budget of, say, $20 million to go work on it. So that's how you get money to make films. It's like you have that built in. You know how you have the mechanism to sell the film after it's made. And so I guess how this applies to all filmmakers is most filmmakers don't have that built-in understanding. Or, look, like everybody takes a risk. Even the movie makers, they go out, they make a stinker like John Carter, and they think they're going to make a lot of money, but they have the connections to the theaters. They have the deals. They have the marketing in place. They have ways of selling the product, so they can spend the money in the beginning to produce it. But filmmakers who are doing it themselves, we don't have that avenue. We don't have that not guaranteed, but at least this profit possibility. We have to make the film and then hope that we can sell it, right? And that changes the way things are done. So anyhow, my whole point. So what happened with United Artists was never a big studio and that they had equipment or a studio lot. They were basically an independent operation, but they changed Hollywood by rebuilding the business model. In that United Artists, what they would do was they would have the contacts for selling the movie, and they would find the artists and say, okay, you make a movie for us, we'll give you this budget. And then, so basically United Artists became a financing outlet. The studio became a financing vehicle rather than a production vehicle, right? So that's what was so important about the United Artists. That's why I wanted to do United Artists. That's a long way all the way around. I talk about the business model. So what's frustrating me about making a movie is I can't justify spending a lot of money because I can't make a lot of money. Like if I went and spent $20,000 to make a short film, I'm out $20,000. So I mean, and it's easy because I can justify easily spending $20,000. I can spend $20,000 on people alone. I could pay people the peanuts and spend $20,000 easily, right? But I can't make money on that, and it'd be completely unwise. So I've got to figure out a way to do my plan, do what I want to do, tell my story, and make it so it doesn't sink me, because right. I mean, look, the days of Kevin Smith maxing out his credit cards and selling it at Sundance or whatever the hell he sold it at, those days are gone. That's never going to happen again. I'm sorry, it just doesn't going to happen. So, I don't know. And Rebel Without a Crew, that kind of thing. Anyhow, Gundamo says, Everframe painting stopped because videos were taking the time away from the filmmaking day job. That makes sense. That's all. But I also feel like he got to a point where he would have to do more and more research and more, because his caliber was getting better and better and better. Like when you first start, they call it the easy fruit to pick. It's low hanging fruit. When he first started, he had a lot of low hanging fruit, but then when he got to the later and later, it's like he needed to do so much research, and it got insane. One Man Show says, I'm making a feature film 15 minutes at a time. We've been in production. We have production money for the first segment. We'll go fund me. If people like the production, they can fund C projects in the next segment. I like that approach. I've thought about that in many ways, kind of like as a sort of like a web series. Remember when web series were cool? Now it's everybody has a podcast because web series are no longer cool anymore. But sort of like a web series. But the problem with that is, I think there's two issues with that. In that you, if you don't have people that are attached to it forever, then it's so easy to just lose people, because if you have your lead you can obviously try to attach them longer, but good luck with you. Good luck with that. Hope you do well with that. They had a lengthy, I guess we're talking about every frame painting. They had a lengthy explanation. I honestly forgot that the main job took over. Yeah, maybe. I'm sure they did. I'm just giving my opinion from what I saw from the outside. Schutz says somebody spent $500,000 to buy a virtual property besides Snoop, Fastiel, or whatever NFTs, and the other crazy idea about value. The NFT is kind of like a what do they call a balloon market. Tony loved my video. I did not know that. That's like heartwarming to hear. I hope he does well because he's always my favorites on the early days of YouTube essays, and back when YouTube was actually profitable before the well, he didn't do necessarily YouTube. I don't think he monetized his videos. I didn't for a while either. But yeah, I mean, YouTube is weird now. YouTube is bizarre. That's the other thing. Like I got kind of crapped on the other day for this. Well, not crapped on, but like gave him resistance. I was going through Facebook and looking at, and then Facebook was showing me these reels. Basically these reels, are vines or short videos. And I remember watching them like, I don't understand this video. Like, I understand vines. I understand the point of short content and jokes. I get that. I'm the only filmmaker probably on YouTube that is in favor of vertical aspect ratio for phone use because it looks good on a phone. But this reel was basically, the title said, "This girl makes really good use of her time." And it was this girl, and she was, busty, and she's pretty cute, and she was in a restaurant, and then the music started playing. She got up and started doing this little dance, and then she sat down. And that was it. And I was like, I don't understand this video. Okay, the girl's cute, but she didn't do anything. She didn't tell a joke. She didn't do, it felt like a David Lynch experience, David Lynch dream, because it was just bizarre. It had no point and purpose. And then I clicked the next video, and it was this girl, like a little heavier set girl, but she was like putting on a Target sweater, and she said that she had gained some pounds from COVID, but if you like Target. Like, what? What is this? Like, every bit of my soul, my creative, like director head brain, and every bit of me that's an artist screamed, why? This is nothing. It's got like 150,000 views now on a short. That doesn't really matter. It made no sense. And there are a couple. The shorts made no effing sense. And I got kind of like irritated. Like, am I that old where I just don't understand? I don't understand this at all. Like, why is this being shown to me? And then somebody who's a social media blogger explained, like, oh yeah, when I first tried TikTok, I hated everything I saw there, but you gotta train the algorithm to show you what you do like, and then it'll start showing you this stuff. And she had a great term for it. She called them thirsty traps. Yeah, this is like a thirsty trap. That's all it is these thirsty guys, and believe me, I could use some drink of water, but basically they just sit there, Target ad, and they like the Target. I don't know. Like, come on, if you're really into, if you're that thirsty, the internet's full of stuff for you. You don't need to go to watching these horrible reels. I don't know. Antonio says, "Don't do it for the money, Mindo." So the only thing I'll come. It's not so much you do it for the money, but where's the money come from? And you think about, like, I love going to Peerspace. If you don't know what Peerspace is, this is really cool. It's like Airbnb, but by the hour. That sounds very naughty. Huh. Okay, never mind. No, it's Airbnb but by the hour, and they basically rent out spaces for people for photo shoots, for events. If you're having a wedding, maybe but there's a lot of cool places I would love to rent, and a lot of them you gotta spend at least, like the cheap ones are like $400 total, but I'll get you about 4 hours there, maybe 4 or 5 hours to do your shoot, and they're really cool spaces. Some go for thousands, so you're spending like there was one that's really kind of popular. It's the Bat Cave from Batman, the one from Nolan with all the white lights on the top, the grid of lights. There's a space in LA that you can rent for like $400 an hour or something like that. So for and it was like an 3-4 hour minimum. So you're looking at about $4,000 or $5,000 to rent that space if you wanted to shoot something there. Now, how do you make $4,000 or $5,000? How do you justify that? Now, if you're making a music video and it's got it's got a budget behind it, and it's got $10,000 budget. Well, that seems kind of much to spend on a 10,000. Say you got a $50,000 budget, yeah, you could swing maybe $5,000 or $6,000 for a set like a location like that. You know, cheap motels are rooms are brilliant. That says Juho. That's a good point. But you gotta have the money in order to cover these things, or else you can't do them. So the way to do that's what I'm trying to think of things I can do that I can do for cheap, basically. So that's what I've got to do. Anyhow. Oh, here we go. Women objectification. Yes. Oh, are you talking about the reels? We can get into that. That's my thing about that. Yeah, Thomas Edison would have been a great TikTok creator. You're right. You're right. Back in those old days when they used to have those Nickelodeons, they put a nickel in and watch a TikTok video. That's all it was, basically. It's like, oh, remember the famous Kiss, one of the very first films ever made, The Kiss. It's a big mustachioed guy, and he's just like, kiss me, baby, and they kiss, and then that's it. It's actually in the National Archives. I remember researching that, and like it was such an amazing film at the day that somebody from I don't think it was D.W. Dixon, but he would go around from Edison's lab and go to like women's meetings and like show, because they had women's meetings back in the day, and they would show this film and like, ooh, it was like kissing a mustachioed man. Oh my goodness, ooh. So it was, yeah, you're right. I mean, those were Vine videos back in the day. People don't change. Things pretty much the same exact thing. All right, Vivzio, I can't say this. I just bought an early 1970s Bell & Howell Super 8 camera. Sweet. Do you have any tips or knowledge for someone who has new to that form of filmmaking? No, I don't. Sorry. There's a couple other channels that do the Super 8 stuff. I don't have any experience with that whatsoever. I've shot still film, but not motion picture film. So good luck and have fun. It should be exciting to see your first when you first get developed and you project it for the first time. That ought to be a trip. Mindo says, I'm mainly doing it to force myself to lift my arse out of the sofa and create some scheduled, basically have a goal responsibility referring to my YouTube channel next year. Awesome. Just remember, though, for a while, YouTube was pushing really hardcore, like, you must maintain a schedule. You should always upload. If you say you're going to deliver a video, you should always upload it on Tuesdays, or pick a day and always upload it that day. It depends on the type of content you're doing. Like, I think live streaming, like what I do here, I try to do them on Wednesdays in the afternoon when I have some time. That's a good idea to do. But if you're making, like the kind of content that I make, which is more like topical, you don't need to set a schedule, because then what happens is then you're basically stuck sometimes if you don't have a topic or something. I mean, I should probably have more of a schedule. I should probably have more of a system of getting my stuff out. Not necessarily a schedule, like I have to deliver every Tuesday, because I don't think YouTube necessarily is, everything's so time shifted on YouTube anyways. Like people don't get notified unless they ring the bell, blah, 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 blah. It's I don't know. So then after YouTube did that whole thing where they told people to stick to a schedule, they saw massive burnout in a lot of their high-end creators, the people that had a lot of subscribers. And so YouTube did a whole thing like, mental health is really important. It's okay to take a break. Calm down. It's okay to take a break. And so, just be wary of the advice that YouTube gives you about creating your own channel, because remember, it is YouTube, and they make money on all of us. Harry Henry says, I love how William Kenny Dixon looks exactly like a stereotype of an old-timey guy, like he's ready to sell you a boys' marching band or a monorail. That's awesome. Or a barbershop quartet. High Def says, YouTube is a job where you have to motivate yourself a lot. Oh, yeah. And, I am troubled by a lot of people, because I deal with kids once in a while that want to be YouTubers. I don't think it's necessarily a good gig to have. Have I seen West Side Story? I have not. Thoughts of it compared to the original. I'm kind of curious now. I was listening to the album because I'm a trumpet player, and I belong to several trumpet Facebook things, and they were saying they were somebody was asking who played trumpet on the new West Side Story, and if you're a trumpet player, you can probably guess who it was. It's Wayne Bergeron. Wayne Bergeron is probably the number one hottest recording artist, trumpet player, like a screamer. He's fantastic. In fact, I play trumpet with a guy. I play trumpet with a guy whose father was Pinky Savitt, who was a recording artist for Warner Brothers. He played on all the big Warner Brother cartoons and all the TV shows. So you mentioned Pinky Savitt, and everybody in Hollywood knows. All the people in music at least know who he is. And so this is his son. His son now is 70 years old, so he's pretty old now. We call him Doc Savitt, and he plays an amazing trumpet player. So much so that when he moved in my area, I was no longer called for gigs anymore because they would just call him. And that's the way it is, and that's the way it's probably going to be. So I got shoved to the side. But he's a great guy, and I really probably should contact him sometime and just go to his house and record him telling stories about his parents, about music, about his dad and all that. But anyhow, my friend Doc Savitt, his claim to fame was he was Wayne Bergeron's middle school band teacher. And he remembered teaching him, and it's oh yeah, I remember teaching him. I taught him, I got him on trumpet and taught him a lot of tricks, and then he kind of forgot all about me, that kind of thing. So anyhow, it's 2 a.m. for where you are. I am in California, where it is 4:20 a.m. and p.m. Sorry. What's your take on YouTube Shorts? I really, honestly, don't particularly care for them. I get what YouTube is trying to do. They're trying to latch on to this whole, shorts, Instagram shorts, TikToks, Vine. Vines are dead, but that whole thing. I mean, I'll probably end up making a few more shorts by the time we're done, but it is a format that it's an interesting format. It's a new medium. It's interesting. Not necessarily my cup of tea. Is Norman Bates' mother an inspiration for Friday the 13th? I don't think it was, but I could be wrong. Yessa says, mental health is stupid. I am insane since the day I remember, and I am more sane than all of you lot. That makes sense. Happy New Year. Check out later. See you later, Vazio. Trumpets do not smell like cherries. Okay, I think you are really stoned. You're very, very stoned. Do you comment on music videos at all? If so, have you seen Dorian Electra, My Agenda? No, I've never seen it. I want to do a music video. I've been dying to do a music video. I feel like one thing that's missing in my life right now, or at least in my creative part, is I've kind of gotten away from music a lot. I have a weird relationship with music in that I've played music, but I got to the point where music was becoming, my playing of music became so oppressive, it was so just so damn depressing. I'll just say it. I got the freedom here to say it because you're all friends, and no one who I know personally will be watching this later. I would go to rehearsals and just be like, why the hell are you guys so bad at playing your music? It got me so depressed. Nobody was taking anything seriously. I would show up every week, and the damn people would be playing, and I was part of the college band, and the damn saxophone section would just be just as bad the week before. And it happened for 3 years in a row. And it got to the point where I'm going to just maintain a tiny level of social interaction with other people. But it's my God, you guys are awful, and it doesn't get any better, guys. It's just horrible, and it wasn't just that one group. Other groups, music became an incredible frustration for me, ultimate, just a terrible, terrible frustration. People just not playing their part, not doing the work. I got sick of it. I got so damn sick of it. So when the pandemic happened and all my band stopped, I'm like, oh, good. Here's my escape hatch. I stopped playing in all the bands. Like I didn't want to do any more music. I was sick of music. And then last October, I got to play a musical, which was I love because to me a musical is people that are competent at their instrument, and we come together and we try to get better and better. And maybe I'm not perfect. I'm not Doc Savage over there. He's way better than me, but at least I feel like I'm getting somewhere with that. So that's why I have this weird relationship with music. So, and then when we did Filmmaker IQ stuff, my former partner like insisted we do not put music in these videos, and it made sense because sometimes it allowed my voice to just carry its own rhythm, and that's fine. But like when I'm doing the studios video, which has film noir jazz background, but I find that kind of ties things in a different way than having just a silent video with just talking. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to both kinds of videos, both kinds of setups. Anyhow, I got away from music for a long time, and I don't really listen to music in the car anymore. I either listen to a podcast or I drive in silence. That's the way it is. So I do want to come back to music a little bit, and part of that may be also making a music video. So I got to talk with one person that I play with in an orchestra, and her husband has this really cool track. And that was pretty cool. I liked it, but he doesn't know what they want to do with it, and I'm like, well, if you don't know what you do with it, let me go crazy and rent one of those Peerspace locations and go to town and make something really, really crazy. So, that's what I'm going to be coming back to music. So, High Def says, I'm going to be so shameless. So, Def, look up Dorian then. Maybe not your style of music, but they are clearly a really good and progressive artist. Cool. Also the thing with music too is I feel like if anybody came to me asking for advice and they wanted to be a musician, I don't see any way anybody can make music these days and make a living. Like there's no way. Unless you're some sort of weird recording artist and you figure out a way to record and sell. But other than that, I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I guess you could be a symphony player, but even most of those musicians have to teach on the side in order to make a living. I don't know. It's really, really bad. All right, Leonard is really annoyed by the dust in the green lamp cover. Okay, well, let's fix that for you. There we go. It probably made it worse. Okay, there. Let's get the whole thing. Yeah, there we go. All right. Do not make music for a living. Play music for your soul on social gatherings. Music is great, but doesn't sell. I agree with that. I mean, what new artists have we seen in the last year? I don't pay attention. So Billie Eilish kind of became popular by making her own music, and really, she's really a recording artist, bedroom recording artist, you know. So I don't know. Blame the people, not the industry. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I've also getting to the age where music doesn't do something for me anymore. Not the same way it does. Which one said that? Spielberg. Is it? Yeah, Mindo says Spielberg said sound is half the picture. It's been a credit to a bunch of people. Spielberg, one of them. Do you record your own sounds? Yes, I record everything. Yeah, I agree. I would even go so far that sound sometimes is more important than the image itself. Like I don't know. Like okay, to me, remember that movie? Not Get Out, the other movie. Oh, the one John Krasinski directed. The one where basically Emily Blunt was in it with John Krasinski, and it was monsters, and it had to be quiet. Was it called Quiet? Like, I thought it was a good movie, but God, it felt like a freaking student film exercise. Like, how can we make this movie scary using only sound effects? Like, you did a good job. It was good. But, like, I'm sick and tired of people saying, well, my goodness, that was such a brilliant use of sound effects. Every movie has a sound effect. Quiet Place, thank you. Quiet Place. But it was like, every movie has sound effects. It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying it's not a good movie, but it just felt like an exercise, something I would do in one of my videos. Like, we're going to make this movie, but we're going to change the sound effects and see how it plays in this way. Anyhow, shit says I stoned myself into I shamed myself into stonerness and probably get blocked. Just get blocked. Just gonna get ignored because I can't understand what the hell you're saying half the time. All right. David F. Sandberg talked about in one of his videos how bad audio can hurt a movie for more than a bad video. That's a very I would consider that video 101. That's like literally that's the most basic thing you learn. That's not really insightful, or it's not really mind. That's like year one. First thing you learn. Good sound is more important than good video, as far as like videos are concerned. But the thing they don't tell you, however, is good sound is often produced in post. There you go. That'll kind of change your thinking about the whole thing. I mean, just think about, like, you ever think about, well, I know they did this a lot in Hong Kong. They did this a lot in Chinese cinema too. I don't think they even bother to record sound on set. Like they just assume everything's going to be dubbed anyways. Because in China there are, like 7 different dialects and they all sound a little different. So in order to have a Chinese film, you gotta like redub it 7 times. So why bother recording sound in the first place? Now this was back in the day, and maybe the cheaper productions didn't bother. Maybe the higher end productions recorded relocation sound, but dubbing was such a common thing. Look at a movie like Barbarella. Like I love the dude in Barbarella with the gray beard, and you're like, which one, John? No, the dude in Barbarella where he's like, Barbarella, Barbarella. And I love his beard, but I knew that was ADR. That was dubbed in post because I think he was Italian. I think the whole movie was shot in Italy, and like they were just spoken in Italian. A lot of that too in Sergio Leone's movies too, where they were just Italians and they spoke Italian, and Clint Eastwood, my donkey doesn't like it. He thinks you're making fun of my donkey. Deep cut for those of you that know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Clint Eastwood would do his thing, but everyone else would be speaking Italian to him, and they just dub over the sound. And then you talk about A Quiet Place. I really loved the first one. I thought there was a lot of interesting ideas, though I think some of the hype maybe overrated it a bit. Yeah, I get. Let's see. Oh, Boyhood. I never saw Boyhood. I don't like stunt movies necessarily, so I don't like movies that are. I think because I've gotten burned by, because I used to run Filmmaker IQ used to be a blog, and I used to post articles every day. Like I look back at the history of doing that. I appreciate what it did for me, but I hate it. I hate blogs. Like I literally hate blogs now. I find them all utterly worthless. Utterly worthless. Just they're the worst form of writing, and the worst form of corporatized. Well, it's not even corporate. It's the worst form of journalism, if you want to call it journalism. I don't even call it that. It's just it's awful. So anyhow, but back in the day when I did blogging, basically everybody would come up with this is the first film ever shot on a Blackmagic cinema camera. This is the first film ever done this way. This film only cost me $200. That's what I was going to talk about. I had a plan to talk about this the other day on my Facebook, and I don't want to name any names. Somebody was saying, "Oh, look how great my shot was." They figured out how to. They wanted to recreate a 1950s shot. Right, and they used a woman walking down the sidewalk, but they didn't have 1950s cars, so they got some Matchbox cars, and they put them on a stand, and they shot forced perspective with a woman walking behind them. I described this idea. It's possible to do that. However, the execution of this kind of sucked. Like it was bad. But the comments were like, "Oh, this is such a good shot." And I was about to say something because I was in a bad mood that morning, but then I thought, I better not say anything because it just shouldn't say anything. Well, part of the reason why it sucked was they tried to make it a dirt road, but the dirt is real scale, so all the little pebbles are like in scale to the cars would be essentially like boulders, you know, and like a little bit of organic matter, like a leaf or a splinter from some wood, look like a log in the scale to the Matchbox cars. But he's like, then the whole thing was, and he used the Liao lens. You guys know what the Liao lens is? It's that lens that has a really long stock, and it's designed to be like a macro lens. You can stick your camera into really tight spaces because the front of the element of the lens is like really far up in front. And so he's using that to shoot this, which you don't really need that to shoot this forced perspective shot. I have a video on forced perspective. I didn't use that lens. But he's like, look at this shot. Look, we spent no money to get this shot. Look at how great this is. This shot didn't cost us anything more than, $4 for the Hot Wheel cars, and that's it. That's all we spent. And I thought, you bought a $1,600 Liao lens for that. Like, seriously. You're telling me it doesn't cost anything. $1,600 lens to do that. And it's not really the right lens for this shot anyway. But, I mean, you could have used it for that. That's fine. Anyhow, I didn't have the heart, and I'm not going to say who it was. So yeah, that's my thought on that. All right, the score and how it is edited makes the movie all the difference. Have you ever thought about what Star Wars would sound like or would look like if it didn't have John Williams' score in it? What if it had like a more contemporary score? What if it had a rock score? Would Star Wars be as good without that? Or would it be like Star Wars? Oh yeah, I mean, I did watch the over Christmas. I think the day after Christmas, I watched Riff Trax' version of the Star Wars Holiday Special. I had never seen the Holiday Special. I didn't realize there was so much to it. I was floored by just how god awful that was. But the part of me too, the Riff Track guys were like saying George Lucas must have been doing a lot of crack. And then I looked it up, I read it, and then actually George Lucas was not involved with Star Wars Christmas Special. Actually. Anyhow. Star Wars with Queen might work. I don't think it would. I mean, it'd be cool. It'd have its own. It would have its own. It would definitely have its own flavor, but I don't know. It wouldn't be the John Williams. Yeah, John Williams is probably one of the greatest American composers ever. I mean, I don't think you could really name someone else as influential as John Williams. I mean, maybe you could say that John Williams stole a lot of stuff from like Holst. And a lot of stuff. I mean, John Williams steals from everybody, and that's fair to say because he just steals but that's music. That's how music is made. You steal from everybody. Yeah, I don't think John Williams is the best, but he's damn well up there. He might be my second favorite. I think Ennio Morricone for me just barely reaches because John Williams can write great music, and I mean. John Williams is the soundtrack of all of our youths, probably. All of our youths. But Ennio Morricone has a couple things in it that just like you go, wow. I can't. There's something about some of those soundtracks that are just like, oh, wow. Those are so good and timeless. Like, I mean, every commercial nowadays uses an Ennio Morricone track, like they're selling that. I think it's not Dos Equis. Boom, boom. What is the name of that? I forget. It's the gold pocket of gold or something like that. I forget the name of that. I think Chivas makes a commercial with Ennio Morricone soundtrack to it. Anyhow, we are the champions of the universe. There you go. Take the ending from Star Wars Episode 4. And just replace "We Are the Champions" with it, and just see how it plays out. It's a totally different movie. Totally different movie, but it still, I mean, it still kind of works, I guess. I haven't watched it yet, but there's a fan edit that added a heavy metal soundtrack to one of the OG Star Wars films. Yeah, I'm not saying it'd be bad. Look, I'll take it back. I'm not saying Star Wars with a rock soundtrack would be bad. It just wouldn't be the same. You know, obviously, it's just totally different. Star Wars with a John Carpenter soundtrack. Oh, there you go. That'd be cool. You know that the theme from Exorcist. It's called Tubular Bells. I think it was called Tubular Bells. I did an interesting. So one of the things I did when I was filmmaker IQ was kind of more of a blog. I used to do like on this day, and I did like hundreds of them, and literally 400 of them, I think. And I did the Tubular Bells thing, and I learned all about the history of tubular bells. Look it up. I don't remember other than the fact that it was a song before it was used in The Exorcist, and then the people that made the song were like, crap, you associated a movie with The Exorcist. Now our song will never be everything but The Exorcist. So, Pink Floyd Dune. There you go. Pink Floyd, excuse me, Pink Floyd and Wizard of Oz, too. Juho says, I would have Ennio Morricone score my life. I think, you know, that's also Quentin Tarantino. The first composer maybe Tarantino ever worked with was Ennio Morricone. And you wonder why. Because basically Morricone wrote most of Tarantino's scores anyway. Ecstasy of Gold. Thank you. That song Ecstasy of Gold is just, it holds up so well. It doesn't even feel dated. Down, 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 you know. I love that. That is, to me, that's so. Like I mean, I can't hum Ecstasy of Gold, but when I hear it, it's imprinted in my brain. Maybe when I play it on trumpet, I'll like imprint. I'll be able to hum it, but like, you know, obviously Indiana Jones theme, Jaws, Star Wars, E.T. John Williams' Harry Potter. Those Schindler's List is gorgeous. You know, but Schindler's List is a gorgeous violin performance, but it is a little bit classical, and that gets a little heavy and a lot of not improvisational, but very notey. You know, it's very busy and I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but it's, you know, it's beautiful, but it's not quite the pure emotion of Ecstasy of Gold. Like, good Lord, that thing. Anyhow, although Giacchone is becoming my new favorite living. If I have, excuse me, if I had infinite amount of money and Giacchone was a personal friend, it's like, hey, I'll give you $30,000 to score my short film. It's like, sure. Giacchone would probably, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. He wrote Up. He wrote a lot of the Disney films now. He is just, I love his stuff. I think he's kind of the new Williams in a way. He's getting a lot of the big corporate Hollywood stuff. The funny thing is, I'm a big Broadway fan too, so I love listening to Broadway music. So I turn on, I'm one of those old fogies that has Napster. Okay, Boomer. It should be called Napster. Okay, Boomer. You know, I'm not a Spotify guy yet. I still have Napster, but they have this new Broadway radio. So I like to listen to whatever new shows or, you know, some newer stuff, not just stuff that ends in the 70s. I want to hear stuff from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. But they have a bad habit of basically lumping in. They think that if you like musicals, you must love Frozen, and every other track is from Frozen. And it's like, I don't want to hear this Frozen anymore. I don't want to hear it. And then you get fed a lot of music from the husband and wife that wrote Frozen, and they're good. I mean, I'm not going to knock them. They're EGOT winners, I believe, but they're not. I like them. I don't love them, but they're. I mean, they're great. Let's be honest. They're fine. They're terrific. It's just I want something different. Although I do love their work. Like I think Avenue Q was written by the husband at least, I loved Avenue Q. Anyhow, I'm babbling. This whole thing is a babble. This whole thing, I would call it Babylon, but Kevin Smith would sue me. Anyhow. On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I don't know. Are you talking about soundtracks? I'm trying to remember that one. I don't remember. There you go. I'm calling it. Hans Zimmer may be win with the Oscar this year. First time since he won for the background score for Lion King. Cool. Do you remember, like people nowadays, if you don't know who people have a very weird opinion of Hans Zimmer. Like, they don't really understand. Like, this is the guy that started in Video Killed the Music's, or Video Killed the Radio Star. The Boing, not the Boingos, but he was there's actually a music video, not the official one from MTV, but Hans Zimmer playing the keyboards. And then Hans Zimmer basically was one of the leading voices or composers in Hollywood, really pushing for electronic music coming into the 80s. Like, people don't realize. They think Hans Zimmer is, like Dark Knight and a lot of like stringy and horror and Call of Duty music and soundtrack. But go back to the old Hans Zimmer days of the 80s. He's a very synth guy. And if you actually read up on Hans Zimmer, he seems like just a downright cool guy. Like, he literally has these programs where he mentors young composers into the business. He's like that's what he really does. Now, maybe it's his advertising, maybe it's his publicist that does that and talks about it. But he seems like a genuine mentor to a lot of people. So I think Hans Zimmer is a cool cat. That's what I'm saying. Oh, James Horner is the one I haven't heard of. When I was a kid, I had a James Horner album collection of all his, like Titanic was obviously, Nowadays, there's that horrible pan flute version. It's a horrible version. But James Horner, we had, what did James Horner do? Terminator. The one person I thought was one of the best music scores was actually from The Natural, and I think it was Randy Newman that wrote that one. One of the Newman brothers. It's always weird to know which. There's a couple Newman brothers. Was it Randy Newman, the same composer that did Toy Story? I can't do the impersonation. That's terrible. But I think it was Randy Newman that wrote the score for The Natural, like the best, like, fake Americana music ever written for a movie. I mean, that's Aaron Copland. It's not Aaron Copland. He basically took Aaron Copland and revived his corpse and wrote the score for The Natural. Da 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 da, and then it was used for every single movie trailer afterward. And I never think I never saw The Natural either. And it was but I love that score, that baseball, ba bum bum ba 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 bum ba bum 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 ba ba bum. I love that. That's so freaking Aaron Copland. Aaron Copland's like, dude, bitch, stole my game. Anyhow, sorry. Terrible, John. Terrible, John. Terrible. Don't cancel it immediately. All right. On Her Majesty's Service, 1969 was the Bond film without Sean Connery. We have all the time in the world. Oh, yeah, all the time in the world song. My favorite Bond song is actually the Carly Simon one. Nobody does it better. If you guys have seen my video on I did the Godfather jazz song, I actually did a solo of that song because I think that's a great. Nobody does it better. I like that song a lot. I don't particularly care for the Paul McCartney one. Is it the Living Daylights or no? No, that's not the one. I don't like the Living Daylights. I hate that's a stupid song. Stupid name for a song. What's the other? The Paul McCartney? You guys will tell me. My brain is. It's got a pun in it. Live and let die. Live and let die. Oh, okay. I'm taking it back. I kind of like that one. It's the Living Daylights I didn't like. Live and let die. Boom, boom. Live and let die. Live and let die. Okay, we're being silly and stupid. If we're jumping back, one early film score I love is Franz Waxman. He scores to Sunset Boulevard and the Hitchcock film Rebecca are some of my faves. Cool, yeah, I gotta look him up. Franz Waxman. Sunset Boulevard is just great. I mean, what's the name of the composer? Is it Newman? No. Who did Psycho and who did Bernard Herrmann? Bernard Herrmann? Yeah, he was the guy that did the other Alfred Hitchcock movies. I mean, those. I mean, Psycho is so angular and brilliant. Yeah. What did you miss? Oh, you missed everything, man. You missed everything. All gone. Bernard Herrmann. Let's get a chant going on that. Was it Aha? Oh, Aha, Living Daylights. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. I thought Adele's version of that. What was the last one Adele did? I thought that was pretty good. Anyhow. Oh, the last score was Bernard Herrmann, Taxi Driver. Yeah, that. Ooh, that's a good one. What about Henry Mancini? Oh my goodness! What about as a kid? I used to love Henry Mancini. Mancini is like in his day, he was so freaking corny, you know. He's like literally like kitsch. He defines kitsch, which is bizarre because if you take Mancini, and you get rid of the late 50s kitsch. I saw Quentin Tarantino talking to Bill Maher the other day, talking about how he said like the 60s was really the 50s part 2, because like a lot of Henry Mancini's music came in the 60s, like something like a movie like Charade with Audrey Hepburn. I think it was. Here's looking at you, kid. That guy, right? Was that the same? That movie? Is that the right movie? I don't know. But like, Charade is a great song if it's taken away from the '60s kitsch, like the '60s lounge lizard style, light bossa nova jazz, whatever. Lawrence Welkish kind of milk toast bland beige soundtrack, you know what I mean? If you take that and like reimagine it with like professional, like like modern jazz musicians who can take Mancini and make Mancini like really freaking cool. But like in his day, Mancini was so kitsch, man. Oh man. So but I used to love Mancini. I loved I remember in the Valley Winds we would play Mancini Magic, and it had like all the wait, no, that's Sanford and Son. Sorry, that's not Mancini. Baby Elephant Walk. That's what it was. Yeah, I was singing Sanford and Son. That's the same guy that did the Austin Powers song, but that wasn't for Austin Powers. It was a needle drop. Anyhow, is Frank Zappa overrated? You know what? I don't listen to Frank Zappa. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't know anything about Zappa that much. I'm gonna take the plunge. Adele is overrated. I don't know. Skyfall. That's what it was. Adele was Skyfall. Alicia Keys was and Jack White. It's a fun time. And Quantum Solace was. Quantum Solace. Casino Royale was the shit. But Quantum Solace is. It's like the new. It's like Craig Ferguson. Whatever his name is. Daniel Craig's Bond's like it's like Star Wars movies. All the odd number ones are good. Paganini or Mancini? Mancini, sure. Mancini. One thing I like I oftentimes are called because I have friends who are classical players, so oftentimes I'll be called to do classical music, record classical music. I do a lot of it, and I'll be honest. I think I talked about this before. Like classical music for me is good for a while, but there's only so much you can take. Like, and maybe also because that amateur musicians don't understand how to perform music in the way it's supposed to be performed. Not they don't understand the larger artistic arc. Sometimes, like if you do a 20-minute sonata, like I've known some people that can play a sonata that can keep your attention for a 15-minute piano sonata and like it actually be interesting. And then there's some people who are technically brilliant at playing piano, but for God's sakes, just end the damn thing. Because it just keeps going on. It's like it's masturbatory. Boom, 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 boom. It's like there's no, like some of these piano sonatas. They need to be like a story or some sort of. There needs to be a rising and falling in action. There's something that needs to drive you through this thing. But if it's just technical brilliance, it gets boring after a while. It just freaking gets boring. I don't know why we're talking on the topic. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know why I'm talking about it. I think I know why, but I'm not going to say it. Quincy Jones, thank you. Soul Bossa Nova. How about the Gremlins OST? I don't remember the Gremlins OST. All I remember is when I first watched the Gremlins, I was probably like 7 or 8 years old. And this happened to me a lot when I was a kid. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Gremlins is so much fun. This is cool. And then I'd go to bed and have nightmares. And then I'd be terrified of the Gremlins ever since. Same thing with Aliens. Like as a kid, in 4th grade, I was like, oh, I would like write a book report. So because they have these horrible books at the library. This is back before things got super woke, but there's always horrible books at the school library. They're just terrible books. But there's like this one little short, book. Are UFOs real? Question mark. And it was just like these horrible doctored photos of UFOs. But like I was like, oh my god, UFOs! Like there's 10,000 reports of UFOs every single year in Kansas alone. And I was writing this book report on UFOs. And then one night I had a nightmare that I was abducted. Right? A nightmare. Sure, it was a nightmare. And then after that, I was terrified of UFOs, of aliens. Oh my God. Like that movie, the Mel Gibson movie with, I can't remember the name of the movie. Sightings. I think it's called Sightings. And that freaking alien shows up on that kid's birthday party. Oh my God, that was freaking scary. Still kind of freaks me out. Anyhow. See. Living daylights. Okay, fun fact. Here we go. Let's go with some fun facts. Let's see if the fact is both fun and a fact. That's a Larry David, the most recent episode of, or most recent season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Very good. I would definitely recommend it. Bernard Herrmann was going to score The Exorcist, but he saw the edit and said he hated it straight to the director's face. So he never did it. Imagine that movie with his score. Oh my God. Although I don't know, The Exorcist, that's hard. I don't know if they could have found a better thing than that. That might have been one of those moments in history where it worked out. There are so many black singers who are flat out better than Adele, even at her tone. But I'm fighting Will Mills Hill. Adele is too established. I'm sure there are black singers. I don't think it's a race issue because there's plenty of black singers out there. I think Adele's got a good voice, and then she was able to I think being British helps because remember that England is a much smaller place than the United States, and England is obviously much smaller than the world. So if you can make it in England, you have a way to make it in the United States because you're an import, right? So that might be the advantage that England has. Oh, there you go. Plotbot. I love that username, Plotbot. I just went to Universal Studios. Great time. Need a monsters area of the park. Didn't know Spanish Dracula was held in such regard. I didn't know that either. I have not been to, I actually haven't been inside Universal Studios in, oh God, 33 years. Wow, that's a long time. Yep, that's how long it's been since I've been in the Universal Studios, LA, the LA version, obviously. Man, and I'm sure it's a lot different than it was 33 years ago. I like how Kubrick used Ligeti in 2001 Space Odyssey. Interesting story. Fun fact. Hopefully it's fun or a fact. Kubrick actually, well, that was all supposed to be temp tracks. Like all that stuff was just stuff that, you know, they're going to actually compose music for 2001 Space Odyssey. But Kubrick fell in love with the classical music and kept it. So that's the way it is. And hey, it's probably a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's what Martha Stewart would say. I'm way behind in your comments. Sorry about that, guys. I'll jump ahead here. Most recent one. So in England, Beverly Knight is someone I consider one of the best singers alive. She's incredible. Hardly anyone knows her. I don't know her. Yeah, I don't. I'll check it out. And she's black, LOL, but I'm going to stop spamming chat now. I don't know. Like, do you really need to, like, I think the biggest music stars in the United States are all female vocalists are mostly all black here. So I don't know what the complaint is about. I don't think anyone's holding back Alicia Keys or Jennifer Lopez. I'm not very good with names, but there's plenty of black singers. I mean, Alicia Keys is the one that pops up in my brain. Queen Latifah, back. Like honestly, can't think of American singers that are. I can think of some Spanish ones. Christina Aguilera. You know, it seems it's a pretty diverse crowd. So I don't think race is an issue with that. Harry Henry says, I've heard Alex North's score for 2001. Really interesting sound, although I still prefer that final film. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, fighting words, guys. Get ready for this shit. All right. Are you ready for this? Return of the Jedi is a better movie than Empire. Duck. Here comes the tomatoes. As a kid, I would agree with you, actually. There's two reasons why. Okay, I won't go any further than that. There's a very good reason that I always loved the first third of Jedi. I thought Return of the Jedi was really solid, really solid. Yeah, and I didn't really care for the Ewok part, but the first third was really good. Tina Turner, there's another black singer. If you want to go back in time, Etta James, Ella Fitzgerald. There's a lot of great black female singers. Not a big fan of Billy. What's her name? Not Billie Eilish. Billy something or other. Anyhow. Helium Road says Jar Jar Binks is the best Star Wars character. LOL. I don't think that LOL. That's not true. It's not an LOL. That's a serious statement. Would you keep this live available after the stream finished? I have been in the past because I'm too lazy to delete them. And I figured, hey, people were just watching them later on. Why are you going to snip parts of it and get me canceled? Get me canceled? All right, so I'm just going to say it. Now we're deep into this thing. All the people that are going to cancel me are probably not watching anymore, but they'll probably snip it out. I watched Cowboy Bebop came out, and I never saw the anime. And I figured, well, it's a good time to watch the anime. So I watched the anime, and I thought the anime I'm really digging it. I'm really getting into it. And I tried to watch the show, and I couldn't really get through the first episode. Like, oh my God, the show is awful. And I went to weigh into it. It's probably not that controversial opinion on YouTube. But one of my favorite characters in the anime, obviously, I think you guys kind of know a little bit about me. I'm a little bit of a thirsty man, but I love Faye Valentine. I think she's fantastic in the show. Like, and what they did in the live action to Faye Valentine, I think was just a sign of just complete destruction on that. People are saying Bebop is a masterpiece. The show is dog poo. Yeah. like Faye Valentine, I think was because I'm very interested to see how they would interpret Faye Valentine, because Faye Valentine is both incredibly sexy, but a great character, and she's vulnerable. Like I was talking to my friend earlier, she's the character that will leave you before you leave her. She's femme fatale. She's everything. She's such a cool character, and they just puritanically like approach to her. They like and they're saying like, well, we don't want her to be a over sexualized costume. It's like, okay, there's being overly sexualized, and then there's just completely like becoming pure, like a Puritan, cover everything except except your ankles. It's like there's nothing sexy about her. Like the Faye Valentine was supposed to be sexy, but dangerous and cool and everything about it, and it just became like so drab. And like, I'm not a big proponent of this whole go woke, go broke thing, but yeah, they're kind of proving the other way. They're kind of proving it the other way. So, yeah, I don't know. So, anyways, I need to finish up Cowboy Bebop. I'm on episode 22 or so, and I really, really dig it. And I've read or seen enough about it. I know how to. I'm familiar with how it ends, so nothing's gonna spoil it. I don't think you can spoil it. So yeah, don't see the live action Cowboy Bebop. And I guess Faye Valentine wasn't the only character they completely screwed up. There's other stuff that they completely screwed up. But anyhow, that's my opinion on. I don't want to be arguing for the. She needs to wear less clothes. She needs to be sexy, and maybe not less clothes, but just like needs to be an air of sexiness to her. There needs to be and it just they got rid of it. They just puritanized it. It just I hate this kind of anti-sex approach to feminism. It's like it's not an empowerment thing. It's like a denial of like basic human instincts. It sucks. Like there's a song that I keep thinking about, which is the everyone wants to use you, everyone wants to be used by you. Like, women complain about being objectified all the time. Like, and this might be my weird thirstiness coming through, but I wouldn't mind being objectified. Everyone wants to be objectified. Everyone wants to objectify. Everyone wants to be objectified. Sometimes, not all the time. And I can get why people would not want it all the time, but sometimes. Fun has been banned. I feel like that's true. Like, fun, and this is the point. The funny thing is, like, Cowboy Bebop was woke for the time. It was super progressive. It was. It was forward thinking, and now we got to right the wrongs of the past. It's wrong how we treated this female character. No, it wasn't. Like Faye Valentine is anime's I've read a lot of comments about one of anime's strongest female characters, and she's sexualized. Sure, she used her sexuality, but the guys on the ship don't even notice that. So I don't know. Sweet dreams. There's your rhythmics. Sweet dreams are made of these. Yeah, I think some of you guys get it, but watch the Twitterati come after me and say, "Oh, John's for objectifying women." To quote Night Turner, "What's wrong with being sexy?" There isn't anything wrong with that, but it is wrong now. Like I said before, if you've ever watched old films with young millennial, I guess they're Gen Zers. Like I watched Some Like It Hot, one of my favorite movies of all time. But if you watch it with woke people, it's fucking, you can't laugh at it. Can't laugh at it. It's horrible. Terrible movie. Donnie, good to see you. Have a good day. See you in 2022, buddy. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we have to fix Faye at the cost of not including Ed. And then they did Ed. Now, my friend Joe's like, well, Ed, he's like, I can give Ed a chance because that actress is really pushing it. Ed reminded me a lot of some of the acting and the camera angles from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Because Mystery Science in the late '90s or early '90s, when you would do like kind of comedy, you would use an extremely wide fisheye lens, and you would use lots of gels. That's how you did comedy in the '90s, right? That's Mystery Science Theater, really wide angle lens. Parker Lewis Can't Lose, really wide angle lens. People looking funny, looking at the camera. They used to do that, a lot of commercials, kids commercials. Remember kids, because I was a kid back then. I saw a lot of kid commercials. So, Mindo, off to Scotland. Fare thee well. Terrible accent. Helium World says, I commend you for having the guts to publicly object to wokeness. Okay, yeah, so if we want to get back to the point, I saw a photo of the people that made Cowboy Bebop. Just and it felt like, I think I saw some video on YouTube. Now look, there's a piling on that happens on YouTube, and I don't care for piling on either. But I looked at the photo of the creators of Cowboy Bebop, and I'm like, you guys are so woke and so smug about you're better than the creators of this show. You got it all figured out. Like, you guys paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this. Anyhow, just didn't like it. Didn't like it. Didn't like it. Yeah, and I'm the neck beard in the internet incel guy. Oh, I can't believe what they did to Faye Valentine. I'm like, well, yeah, sorry. Yeah, High Def says, I think it's fair to say this doesn't speak to women, which could be half of the audience. Doesn't mean it did stuff. The old stuff is all wrong. I don't know. Okay, you want to get me really canceled? I don't know if all women. I don't know. Speak to women. I don't think it's right to think of women as one big giant. I read a tweet from a woman that thought Faye Valentine should be sexy and that had no issues with the costuming of women. I think it's easy to paint women as anti-sex, puritanical people, and I feel like that's maybe injustice, and maybe that's not a good way to think of women either. That might be a bad approach to women. And then I guess not to half the audience of porn are women. I mean, it's basic human instinct. Women are better looking creatures than men. I think that's pretty much guaranteed. I mean, women will buy things from women, a beautiful woman, and then necessarily a beautiful man. I was at a store the other day, and I saw this bath like slippers and a bathrobe and like a bath stuff. It was like a package, and it had a picture of a guy on it, and he was like smiling. He was like a pretty boy, a really good looking guy, right? He was smiling, like 5 o'clock shadows, like, yeah. And I thought, there's one demographic that package is selling to, and it ain't men, or ain't straight men, and it ain't women. There's one kind of demographic they're going for with that bath product. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm gonna get so canceled, but I think at this point in 2021, I've lost my care for it. I don't care. I'm just gonna say it, and to be honest with you, a lot of the people on my Facebook, I tend to watch what I say on Facebook and what I post on Facebook. The people that give me a hard time are women. I can say that on YouTube because most of you are men. All right. I don't want to start a sex war. I don't want to start a gender war. I'm just saying women are freaking powerful creatures. They're wonderful, beautiful, powerful people. I think they're more powerful than men, honestly. I mean, and I think it's been that way for a long time, and they will not acknowledge it. But I'm going to say it's true. Don't cancel yourself, dude. What am I going to do? I follow a lot of people on YouTube, they complain about being, censored by YouTube. Yet I see their videos. I don't know. I don't think they're censored. So as much as people are talking about censored, I mean, yeah, there are some channels that are censored. I get it, but some of the stuff is just arguing to have something to talk about. You get outraged. It's outrage culture for the other side. Everybody gets outraged. Everybody must get outraged. That's the way we are. Race car spelled backwards. Oh, that's clever. The wokeism surrounding Cowboy Bebop seems to forget that cultural relativism is at play. Bebop isn't American or even Western original. Yep. Yeah. 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 I would even, and think 1998. Think about like the time. I mean, obviously, even cartoons in 1998 weren't really that. I mean, The Simpsons was the most, like, at fourth. Well, South Park was already out, so South Park might have been the most daring. But South Park is a different. South Park's a comedy and it's a jokey. I mean, it's not a serious. Like Cowboy Bebop is an adult, serious animated program. Anyhow, there's a lot we can talk about. I don't know enough about Cowboy Bebop, but I'm really fascinated by the show. I really do enjoy it. I think I can find myself going down the rabbit hole on that. So you're saying women can't be summed up in one group? Oh no, not how dare I? I should not say that. All women are exactly the same. They must be treated with respect and dignity and never ever objectified. Because we should not think about sex ever, ever, ever. You must ask permission. Everything you do. Like okay, and I get it, but I think it's kind of unsexy if you're going to have to ask a woman to kiss her if she's looking at you and she's got that, like, I mean, the vibe feels right, everything seems right. Like, may I kiss you? Well, I mean, probably could make it work. I could see some situation you can make it work, but like the kind of pleading permission. I'm not saying you should force yourself on somebody. But, and there's got to be some ways that more than just like, here's a contract, sign it. This is consensual. We are going to kiss. Here you go. Please sign. I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to go down too far that road, but yeah. They're going to be more like the French say. We've basically gotten rid of romance and I don't think it'll end well. Nope. Sorry. High Def says, that's not what I'm saying. Cowboy Bebop has fairly realistic male archetypes that are choose from. Cool guy, muscular guy, fat guy. What can women choose from in terms of characters who I identify with? Sure, I get. Yeah, I get you're saying. I wasn't pushing back on you. I'm sorry. I was just jumping forth with another concept. But yeah, but to say that you don't have, I get your point. There are other women characters on this show, but they're not. They're all side characters. You get the cool guy. You could also be the weirdly annoying computer hacker. What about all the nerds? Who are they going to look up to? I mean, sure, but I think there's obviously some biological, there's some centered, what Jung would call, archetypes out there. Obviously there's like the saintly mother, the whore with the heart of gold. That's a character that it's a trope. I'm sure Jung could, if you looked up what Jung talks about as far as all the different archetypes. Yeah, I mean, women are a little bit more limited, I think, than guys. I don't know. I'd push back on that thought. But I'm not arguing with you necessarily. I'm arguing that with myself. Yeah. Yeah, Helium Road says Bebop was rooted in Americana to include jazz, noir, and Western films. So I liked about, I do love the music, and I like the inclusion of jazz. They call it a space opera, space jazz. Sound card database. Wow, that's an interesting username. I find it hard to keep motivated on a lone film project documentary after a few years working on it. Any tips or experience you can share to overcome these cynical slumps? No, I don't. Unfortunately, that's why it took me 2 years even start shooting the 20th Century Fox video. It's hard. Documentaries. I'm sorry, I don't like documentary. Although that's primarily the kind of work I get paid to do, is documentary, whether it's commercial documentary or fundraising documentary or all kinds of documentaries. That's what I do. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's tough, man. I hear you. I hear you. The only thing I can do is just break it into smaller bits and just maybe take a break from it and come back, go away and come back from it. Go away for a while and come back to it. Oh, is there something here going on, boink, or is it your phone running out? I think my phone is just telling me that I'm being canceled. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, we need more of the rabbits. My bunny, I've got two bunnies. One's named Axel and one's named Asia. My mom doesn't speak English very well, so she calls the boy rabbit Asshole instead of Axel. My boy rabbit's been a little bit depressed lately. Maybe I'm just projecting my own feelings on the boy rabbit, but he seems like he's kind of bummed out. Like I pick him up, they don't really like to be touched that much, so they don't like it when I cuddle with them. But I do because I'm a terrible human being. But he looks a little depressed, and I actually left the door open because they have their own room. They just freely roam around the room. They don't have a cage. I think that's the best for the bunny. If they don't have a cage, they kind of they just walk around the room. My bunnies are really cool in that they don't ever try to leave their room. Like I can leave the door open to the kitchen, but they hate going on the linoleum floor. But I left the gate open because I had a little gate to the living room, and the bunny started going out and like hanging out there. And he saw me. He was like, "Oh no, I have to go back home." But yeah, I should get the bunnies back out. I love the little guys. I love my rabbits more than I had a kid. As a kid, I had a rabbit named Snowball, and I wish I had him as an adult because that bunny was so affectionate, so affectionate. And the last one I had, Connie, was a white rabbit we found in the backyard, and she was affectionate too. These two rabbits, they're kind of standoffish. They're kind of like, don't bother me. But I don't know. Hey, Rick H, how you doing? You're napping. You're napping when the notification came out, and this sounds like an interesting topic. Well, this is how John gets canceled in the end of 2021. Yeah. Plotbot says, gotta wait 100 years for good blue movies with major stars. Good blue movies with major stars. Joho says, if your dream came true, what would 2022 look like? Well, I'd finish that damn comic book that I've been working on. Like, sporadically. I'd do that. Probably be engaged to, like, I don't know, whoever. I'll get that age. I'm like, well, gotta settle down. Well, not settle down. I gotta settle up, I guess. There you go. That's the term. I gotta settle up. That's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, that's what my 2022 would look like. And then maybe get things a little more stable in my head at least. All right, man. Slitch Pits, I'm sorry about ignoring you, but you were stoned. So have a good 2022, buddy. See ya. High Def says, some truth. The problem with all this sex woke debates is how extreme it gets. Death threats, bullying online, sometimes it even spills into IRL. It's so toxic. Stay civil is essential. Yeah, I agree. Like, it's weird because like last time I wore my Bane mask, and like people were giving me crap about wearing the mask. It's like, come on, it was a Bane mask. So it was like, oh, don't wear that. It's a bacterial infestation. It's like, okay, whatever. So I think that's what depressed me so much about 20 and 21 was how toxic the world has gotten and how toxic online has gotten. And I think part of that too for me was to reframe everything and to take my mind, reframe it all. Like just reframe everything and not look at the world as this is what, or not look at social media as this is what the world is really like, but this is what the world looks like when it takes a dump. Right? Because what do you do when yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But social media it's not real. It's like it is a dump. It is when you go when you're frustrated and you just you throw out your frustrations on the social media. If you look at social media and you see all the toxicity on social media, you're like, oh yeah, it's toxic. And the thing is though, you have to reframe it. You have to reframe reality, at least your perception of reality. Remember, reality is what it is. None of us have access to reality. We all have filters on how we view reality. I knew a guy. I think I talked about this before, but like 10 months into the pandemic, we all went out to play tennis, and the guy just starts going on a vicious political thing, just ugly political rant. Like he was more on the woke side, ugly, and I'm actually very. I think in the grand scheme of things, I'm actually right in the smack dab in the middle, which makes me far right, I guess, because this guy was so ugly, and I just like realized I will never speak to this guy again, never, because he is just so he has consumed all this toxicity in his life. He has become toxicity, and I think talking about politics here, I think Trump did make that a reality for a lot of people. Like their life became toxic, and then that's because they weren't able to step back and it's like, okay, calm down. No, there was just the hatred for Trump was so strong that it just became toxic. Now, whether you like it or not, like I didn't vote for Biden. I think he's a terrible president. I don't have the toxicity though. I don't like, oh, I hate it. I don't have that toxicity about it. But that's what Trump did to a lot of people, and it just warped their brains. And then being on social media 24/7 and not having human contact, that warped people. And I think that definitely made me feel really depressed the last couple of years. It's part of the reason. Part of the reason why I haven't been able to do stuff is I just super depressed about that. Yeah, now we're getting to the point where I'm just spilling my guts. Yeah. Back to your comments, and I got to get back to work on my. I'll spend a couple more minutes working on my video. I'm working on that Fox video, but I'll do a couple more comments. Hang out for you a little bit more, and then I got to get going. So Helium Rose says, I go to the doctor's checkup for and my doctor out of nowhere starts a political rant. Seriously, give it a rest. Exactly. And the thing is, like, I want to go back to the days where we could have two parties and they could literally fight in the congressional office and then go have drinks afterward and hang out and like make fun of each other. Oh, Joe's a Republican. Well, it means he has half a brain. Oh, Randy's a Democrat, means he has half a heart. But they would joke and they would go to do things together. And yeah, I guess that's where the swamp comes from, whatever. But I wish the toxicity would die down a little bit, but it's not, because if we're going to get down further, it has to do with the fact that the media is. I literally blame the media. I think the media is the most. That's another thing, probably the reason why I've been so like down about it, about doing stuff online. It's like I hate the media. I really do. I think the media is the worst. I mean, I told you about I hate bloggers, but the media is just so awful, and it's so shallow. And I think, and we've fooled ourselves into thinking that we're getting informed by watching the media, and we're not. Like, just to give you an example, like I saw it happening to me, right? I'm a film blogger. Well, I'm a filmmaker who has a channel that has a few viewers. But, I looked at this Liaowo lens, that lens that has that long snoot that I was talking about earlier. And I saw that, hey, so-and-so, they have a review on it. This person has a review on it. This has the guy, the really cool British guy, that Hong Kong guy who's at the British accent. He's reviewing it. I should buy this lens. All the cool kids have it. And I said, stop. What the hell am I using that lens for? Do I have a purpose for that lens? No. So don't buy it. Ridiculous. I ended up not buying it. But I did today. I did buy a a spotlight today, but I do have a use for the spotlight. I do have creative uses I want for the spotlight. But anyhow, so our media is so corrupt and so terrible, and I'm so disillusioned by media in general. So, yep. And in 2022, I don't know what's going to happen with the American election. Is it going to get so nasty again? I think it will. I feel like we're doomed. Like, we've been doomed since, well, Clinton days. I mean, Clinton was starting to get bad, but then again, I was young and didn't know anything, right? Because I remember Newt Gingrich was a big issue. People really hated the Clintons. My dad did not like Bill Clinton, So, and I'm sure, and Ronald Reagan too. And I remember watching a lot of BBC stuff where they just go to town on it. Thatcher. So yeah, it's been forever. So what's new? I guess I don't know what's new. Noah says, watch my video on script and history. Thank you. Yeah, that's an old one, but thanks for watching it. The race car says, I voted for my rabbits. I think the platform of making the world irresistibly chewy is something we can really identify with. They're not good with cables, though. Don't trust a rabbit with a power cable. Oh, bad idea. Bad idea. Ugh. Bring back the good old Pauline Kael. Yes. Are you as sick of everyone? Look, I loved Roger Ebert as a kid because he would write Roger Ebert stuff and I would read it. And then as I got older and after 9/11, I got a little older and I just started seeing Roger Ebert as a kind of a shill for like a liberal shill. Sorry. I had very big differing opinions with Roger Ebert. Very differing opinions. Like one of the big ones is like Team America. Like he did not give Team America anywhere close to anywhere close to what I think Team America deserves. It's a much better movie than he made it out to be. That's one of the vast divergence opinions with Roger Ebert. But I get frustrated whenever I hear Roger Ebert's the godfather of movie critics. He is not. There is a whole generation of movie critics before Roger Ebert, but only people know is Roger Ebert because he was the last movie critic that mattered. So hey, Rick, thank you so much. You are so kind, giving me a super chat there. Thank you, Rick. Rick H. Everybody, give him a hand. Thank you, man. And Merry fifth day of Christmas. 5 gold rings. No, it's 4th day, right? 4th day of Christmas, and Happy New Year to you, bud. What is the future of physical film and filmmaking? It has become more popular on music videos, smaller productions. Do you see it lasting, and where does it go from here? I hope it continues. I hope people have the option to make physical film in filmmaking. I really do. But would I personally? No. I would not shoot film for a high-end job. Well, for a very high-end job where I hired a cinematographer that had experience shooting film, I would let them make the choice. But I don't know. I mean, I hope it sticks around. I really do. Because why? I don't want to lose anything. I don't want to lose it. It's cool. It may not be for me, but it's cool. It's cool. I'm a normal person who only listens to movie critics who like the movie I like. I think with the Team America movie, it just became apparent that he was about the politics of the movie, and he didn't quite get the joke of it. Well, but it was more than just we disagree on what we liked about it. I found him to be really more shallow. I mean, Kael has her own issues too, but I would say Kael was much more influential than Roger. Well, I'll take that back, as I think Roger Ebert's super influential. I also was of the opinion a long time ago that I would read a lot of movie critics because they would help me learn how to make good movies. I don't know if you guys have that opinion or have that line of thinking. Not a good idea. Movie critics don't know jack about how to make a good movie. Absolutely nothing. You will learn how. Can you learn how to make a good movie by watching a lot of films and analyzing them? Nope. No way. I know that might come to a shocker to some people. That might come to a shocker, but you cannot watch movies and learn how to make movies. It doesn't happen. So that's kind of also the time when I kind of stopped reading movie critics. It's when I just like, it's like, like when you make some movies, like you have no idea. Like I mean, you can be a movie critic. It's easy. Movie criticism is easy. It's more like writing. It's really about writing about yourself. I like the movie critic I do like now is Mayo. Oh dang it, what's his name? Mayo's partner, Kermode. And I loved what he said on the other day about he was reading emails about he didn't like the new Ghostbusters movie. He was reading the emails. He said the job of a critic is to explain my reaction to the film. So it's my journey. I'm explaining to you how I'm going through it, and maybe you'll connect with it. And that's I so appreciate his view on movies, and he's probably the most politically different than I am. But I really respect Kermode. Almost everything everything I've read like, or I have audiobooks of his audiobooks, and I really appreciate him. I think he's one of the best movie critic voices now. Is Kermode. You look him up. But I thought that was a great thing. But like I go back to the Roger Ebert, the Team America review. It forced me to just not take him. It soured me on it basically. I don't know. I'm also probably being a hypocrite. Hey, we're not all going to be perfect. I'm having too much fun hanging out. I need to get going, but man, I love hanging out with you guys. Ebert did change his tune on several films, dumping them on them on release and then praising them, and then when they became classics years later, I can't take critics seriously. Yeah, I agree. But again, that's what I like about Kermode. He doesn't take himself very seriously either. He just talks about his experiences of film. And I don't think Kermode necessarily does they don't do like a thumbs up or thumbs down or a rating system. And I think that's smart because I don't think rating systems like stars or, out of 10, they're just not good. It's a terrible way of distilling your experience about a movie. I'd rather hear you talk about it. If you wanted, would I recommend it? Yes or no? That's probably the most useful thing. But beyond that, 7.8 out of 10, who gives a rat's butt? Anyhow. Rick H. said, I believe that you'd have to make films, learn how to make movies, make some bad movies, and learn. Exactly. Rick's, I think you're right on you finished my thought there. You can't watch movies and learn how to make movies. You have to make them. And then you can watch them and learn something. They can watch movies and learn some stuff. Oh, I'm going to try that in my next movie. It's kind of like I equate that to you can't learn how to play the violin by listening to a lot of classical records. You can't learn to cook by going to a lot of restaurants. You can't, we can go on forever, right? You got to actually do the thing that you want to learn how to do in order to, it's a practice. Everything's a practice. So you got to practice it, and to think you're just learning movie making by reading critics and watching movies, you're fooling yourself. Like I did when I was younger. So, and Tarantino, people always bring up Tarantino. Tarantino, look at Tarantino as a prime example of someone who thinks they can make a good movie because they've seen a lot. But he didn't. Like, if you watch the first movie he made, it wasn't that good. Like, it had the Tarantino, writing style. And it had Steve Buscemi in it, but it was like home video. It wasn't great. But he had to make stuff. I get trouble talking about it, but Alison Brie is a person that people some of the YouTubers hate her, but Alison Brie said that, they always, Hollywood is full of overnight successes that take over 10 years to happen. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But Alison Brie, she was in Hollywood for a very long time until she made a couple films that really broke her open to be an overnight success. But she was in Hollywood for 10 years before that. So everybody talks about, oh yeah, you have to practice. It takes a while. Yeah, rating system work only when they are mass aggregated into IMDb is never wrong. Yep, IMDb is never wrong. Boy, I really hate what IMDb has become. It's awful. I used to go to IMDb and like be able to like, okay, look who the director is. Okay, look at the cast and crew. And now IMDb is completely useless on the phone. Completely useless. It's awful. It's really made me sad. Made me really, really sad. What do you think about the 4D experience? I've never seen one. To me, it feels kind of gimmicky. It's very Robert Castle films. You guys remember the history of Castle films? He was the guy that would make the like skeleton on the haunted hill or whatever, and like halfway through the movie, the skeleton would like droop through, and it's. I mean, it's fun. I'm not don't like Rocky Horror 4D experience is a total blast. You get to, you go there. I want to do a Rocky Horror experience again. I want to take a date to Rocky Horror, but I think most of the girls would probably freak out. Yeah, Helium says I miss the forums on. I miss forums in general, but Facebook is kind of taking over that. But Facebook is just sometimes it's toxic. It's just horrible. Like I was part of this 3D printing thing, and I said somebody was talking about the spool of the 3D filament broke, and I said, well, it happened to me. I just tossed the whole thing. I couldn't do anything with it. And somebody just went to town on me. It's like, oh, you are an evil person. You're worse than my fucking neighbor who's just a piece of shit garbage human being. I'm like, I just threw spool away because I couldn't use it, you dumb fuck. Anyhow. All right, whatever. All right, guys. Plotbot says Rewatchables with Bill Simmons is informative, and albeit it wouldn't work without reviewing the latest movie each week. Yeah. If Facebook was a horse, we would shoot it in the head. It's meta. It's meta now. You think about it, like you realize, and this is a scary thought. And it was like, well, why didn't I realize that? But if you really took your life to meta, like you literally became, if you spend most of your life in meta, like the way Ready Player One kind of style, the way that Zuckerberg wants you to do, if you have meetings in meta, if you run your life through meta, that everything you do will have a record and will be tracked by one single company. Yeah, that's not a good idea. No. Anyhow, Reddit is a better forum environment. I kind of agree. I do enjoy Reddit occasionally, but you do have to curate it to your own style. All right, guys, it is almost 6 o'clock here in rainy Southern California. That's not a live shot, but it is. I mean, it literally is like raining in California, which is rare and wonderful, and we all love it here. All right, so guys, I will be back in January 2022. Hopefully, I have not been canceled. You can't cancel me. I don't have a boss. I mean, you could probably hurt me, but don't cancel me. I'm not going to cancel. I'll be fine. No one cares about small fries like me. All right, guys and girls. I don't think there are any girls though. We'll see you later, guys. Hopefully not be canceled. Have a great New Year's Eve. If you do want to go out and get toasted, make sure you try to get a ride. I mean, be responsible. Be good boys and girls. So that way we can have a really fun and exciting 2022. We can get back together, make some good films, go out there and make something great. We might try to do a contest or something. It'd be fun. I think next year will be great. I think it'll be a good time, and it's going to be great. And it's going to start right now because I'm going to get off and do something else. I'll talk to you guys later. See you later, Filmmaker IQ. Bye bye.